Welcome to the Affirm Wellness Podcast, where we will explore the many facets of wellness. In each session, we'll dive into inspiring stories, give expert tips, and practical advice to help you live a healthier, more fulfilling life. In this episode, we explore how small adjustments in your surroundings can have a big impact on your emotional well-being. From decluttering and lighting to color, organization, and intentional spaces, we discuss practical strategies for creating environments at home, at work, or anywhere that support mental clarity, balance, and emotional wellness.
How you feeling today, Deshauna?
I'm feeling happy.
That's good to know.
Yeah, thank you. How are you feeling today?
Um, Always at peace. I take it one day at a time. Try to find things to my pockets of peace, my pockets of joy. So I'm doing pretty well today. I'm grateful for life and grateful for just peace of mind.
Absolutely. I'm happy that the weather is good today. And that we're here, and I'm always excited about the topics.
Yeah.
We've been talking about doing our podcast for so long, and just the different projects and things that we're talking about and setting up for ourselves. I'm just really, really excited to move forward with those.
Yes, and putting things into action.
Yes.
And so I want to compliment our space today because that's kind of like what we're talking about today, our environment and things that make our environment comfortable, cozy, and refreshing, and just make you feel good. And I'm big on aesthetics and the environment of or space that I work in
Yeah.
and am a part of. So, what is your favorite space in your home?
I have to just pick one space.
Well, a space that brings you joy, or a space that you feel comfortable in.
So my office,
Okay.
yeah. So one of my goals last year was to get my office renovated.
And it looks good.
Thank you so much. So, and just in case everybody doesn't know, my favorite color is pink. And so I went with, a pink wallpaper, and just looking at that office every day and knowing how hard, I worked to pour into that office to get the renovations done and things like that. It makes me really, really happy and proud to work in there every day.
And I'm not gonna lie, when you told me you you had pink wallpaper, I was like, ooh.
What is that going to look like?
I know. Then when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's a muted,
Yeah.
beautiful pink. It's soft. It's like the energy in there is really cool, and the designer did a very good job at bringing everything together. So it wasn't loud. It was just right. It was you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. What about yours? What's your favorite spot in your house?
so I would say my front living room. That's your favorite living room in my home.
That's our living room.
Yes, and so that living room. I don't know if it's the lighting of the window, like the big window, or I don't know what it is. I think I think it is the window. The lighting in there, the way I set up the mood, and the paint colors. I want to paint it green, but
That'd be pretty.
like a dark, not too dark green, but like just dark enough to where it's still cozy
That'd be
for
pretty.
the space. But that's what that's where I would say, because I think it's the lighting and just the coziness of it. I try to bring a lot of cozy elements to it, and trinkets and things like that to that. So I would say that's my favorite room. I feel the happiest when I'm in that room.
Yeah.
Minus my bed in my bedroom, but that room is
Yeah, that's my second favorite too. Sometimes my daughter will ask, well, what's your favorite time of day? I'm like, when it's time to go to bed.
Exactly. Like my
To
son.
get my rest.
Like when I ask my son, "What's your favorite time at school?" He'll be like lunchtime. I'm like,
There you
"Whatever."
go. There you go.
All right, so I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm going to describe what it is. And I will tell you, from when I was going over these ideas, I've always thought I was a minimalist. And so, do you feel like you prefer minimalist, calm environments, or stimulating ones?
So I think I have like a combination of two, and it sounds like stimulating and calm, because I do like music when I work. If I'm working on something tedious, it needs to be quiet, because I like to listen to like upbeat music instrumentals when I work. Sometimes it's like soca or hip hop, and like sometimes the soca and the hip hop like get you moving. You can't move around too much, if you're really trying to hone in on something, but. I do like stimulating things in my environment. I like trinkets and words, and obviously colors really make me motivated and feel feel really happy to be in that space. And that's important to me,
Yeah.
especially in, you guys have probably heard me say, in this big age,
Mm-hmm.
like, those things are really important to me now, being motivated to be in a space,
Mm-hmm.
work, especially working through some of the things that we have to work through therapy sessions,
Oh yes.
creating presentations, just some of those tedious things that we really have to do. Just working in those calming and stimulating environments are very important for me.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
What
true.
about you?
I used to think I was a minimalist, and I want to describe the different types of
Mm-hmm.
environment. So, minimalist example of that would be a tiny desk with just a laptop, notebook, and a plant, neutral colors, and minimal decor. And then a calm environment would be example of that would be a cozy reading nook with soft lighting, cushions, and calm music. And then a stimulating environment would be a creative studio with colorful artwork, varied textures, posters, and music playing in the background. And I would, in the past, I would say I'm a minimalist, but once I, connected with different types of environment, I would say I like a bit of calm and stimulating environment because I do
Mm-hmm.
like trinkets. I do like things on the wall that are colorful, and I do like color.
Yeah.
I never thought I liked color
Yeah.
because I think people did it wrong.
Yeah.
And somebody exposed me to a designer that did color exactly that I wanted it to be. It was very neat and clean. In some ways, it's a minimalist type of look, but it's colorful, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's calming, and but it's calming yet stimulating. So it
Sure.
motivates you to want to do your work. It increases productivity, and like you said, when I'm working with clients, I like the environment that I'm in. It makes me more focused, and also it's important. Even though most of my sessions are virtual, it's a nice environment to show that I'm in, and so I would say a bit of calm and stimulating environment.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
for me.
Nice. Very nice.
And
Very
you're right
nice.
about the music, having a nice, music in the background and things like that is helpful.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, I know sometimes if, just depending on what kind of work I'm doing, I can teeter to minimalist
Yes,
mode,
yes.
because I don't like distractions when I'm working and I'm really trying to focus. So I may just have the laptop and a notepad, always a notepad, and a candle on my
Yeah.
desk, because I absolutely love candles. So I do teeter a little bit with minimalist
Yes.
concept, but mostly it's stimulating and calm.
And I think you're right because when I was in college, I think maybe that's why I thought I was a minimalist
Mm-hmm.
because when I would have to study, I would go to the third floor in the library and get
Mm-hmm.
in the little cubicle room,
Yep.
and I made all A's that semester that I
Yep.
did that.
Yeah.
And then my best friend, we talked about, in the friendship podcast session. She liked music, she liked noise and things like that. And I just didn't understand how she could study with music. I cannot
Yeah.
study. I have to study in silence. And
Mm-hmm.
so I do think that different seasons and different experiences kind of
Sure.
impact what type of environment works for you.
Sure.
With having kids and having a household and different things like that versus living by yourself.
Oh yeah.
It does change, your outlook and the way that you kind of experience your environment.
Yeah, the kids have come in my office and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so quiet in here." I'm like, "Shh," because I'm working on something, right? But then sometimes they may come in and they may not think I'm working on something because the music is a little louder and it's more upbeat, and they're like, "You can't be. What are you doing?" But again, it's just whatever mood you're in, whatever works for you, will determine sometimes kind of how you set things up.
Yeah.
So.
What's your must-have in an environment? I kind of know the answer to
Which
that, but
environment? You talking about the
any
office environment?
environment,
A must have?
yes, a must-have. I kind of know the answer to it, but
In any environment, but the environments are different. You got the
but
office, you got the bedroom, you got the living
but
room.
there's one thing that I know that you must have.
What is that thing? What's the one thing that I have to have in my
It's
environments?
around here, right here, looking at us, right here.
Coffee?
No,
Oh,
plants.
plants.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you are absolutely right.
Hmm.
I tried to trick myself at one point and get like faux. I was going to get like some faux flowers or faux plants. And I just couldn't do it because I just absolutely love real plants. I love the way they look, the way they smell sometimes, especially in the spring. Like I have one plant that, blooms in the springtime and you can smell it when it blooms. And so I'm a plant geek. Okay,
Yes.
so don't get me started on that. I don't want to get too off topic, but absolutely yes. In every environment in my house, there is definitely a plant.
If, and I
Yeah.
think that that's something that I picked up. The first plant that I got was for a holiday a gift at like a gift exchange thing. And I remember I got that plant. The lady was so excited, and she was like, "Oh, I bought you this plant," and she was like describing the plant to me, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever."
Whatever.
Whatever. What kind of gift is this? Who
Yeah.
gives plants holiday gifts? But that was the best gift that I could have ever received because it transformed my environment. When I took
Yeah.
it home, it just like it's something living in your environment.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so I do feel like having live plants or like having flowers and different things like that, having something living in your environment, it does impact your environment a great deal. And that's one thing that I took away from that experience. And when I see how you incorporate it in your house, I've incorporated a lot in my house as well. But I'm specific with certain plants. I like snake plants and certain plants
Yes.
because they're easier to maintain. And so it doesn't have to be something stressful when it comes to plants. Because some people are like, I don't have a green thumb. I wouldn't say I have a green thumb either. But those ivies and those snake plants and all that, that family
They
don't
don't
they don't
take
die.
much. Yeah, they don't take much no matter how much you neglect them. You
Exactly.
know, they stand still.
Exactly. And they
So,
just bring something to them. I don't know what it is.
yeah,
I guess because it's a living thing, it just brings
sure.
some joy and some color and different textures to the environment. And I
Absolutely.
think that impacts your mental health as well. It just
Yeah.
makes me feel happy.
And it reminds you of nature, you know, because nature is very calming and soothing. And so, you know, having plants in your environment a lot of times reminds you of just being in nature,
That's true. That's
right?
true. And also it helps you relax a little bit more. And it has double benefits because also a lot of those
Air
IVs and yeah, it
purifiers.
purifies the
Yeah,
air and things like that.
absolutely.
I can tell the difference when I don't have live plants, and I do like the faux plants as well because they serve its purpose. But
Yeah.
those live plants are vital and amazing.
Absolutely. So, you know, what are some things that come to mind when you think about how, you know, your environmental preferences have changed over time?
I was telling my son the other day that when I didn't have kids, my house the only thing I had to do was dust it. It was that minimalist. I didn't have
Yeah.
any. I had like the basic furniture, like the sofa, the TV, the side tables, and I didn't have any minor trinkets and stuff like that. But the only thing that I had to do in my house really was vacuum and dust. That was it. And now with having a family and children, I had to learn to have a more colorful, more stimulating environment for children. Because with children, you have to have a stimulating environment. But I also create space for myself because as a past minimalist, now calm person, I do like the stimulating aspects of it. But like that front room is very calming. That the sun and the light and everything like that is calming. But the other environments I try to create that are stimulating for my children. They also, the funny thing is that my kids like that living room as well. If they don't
Yeah.
want to be bothered, they'll go to that living room. If they want the stimulation, they'll go to the family room.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say. Like I had to just adjust to I adjust my preferences to family life.
Sure.
I'm no longer a
Yeah,
single
that makes
woman,
sense.
so I have to create these spaces that are helpful for everybody. Has their own thing that benefits them, so I have to create that environment. But in spaces that are mainly my spaces, I try to create it for things that fit for me.
Sure.
So paint colors and like you said, plants and just things that stimulate my environment or make my environment calm. So that's what
Yeah.
I would say. But in the past, I would say I was really a minimalist, and so I think that's why I thought I was. But I saw how much joy that the stimulating environments brought for me.
Yes.
Like my brain just like I forgot the lady's name, but it's a social media page. I saw her the way she just did textures and colors and stuff like that. I just felt so happy, and so I was like, I did my bathroom like that. So I'm gonna do my front living room like that. Pick a color that just I think the color that I picked was restful or something like that. But it does feel restful, so that's what I would say. What about you? How's your
So,
preference changed?
so, I've never been a minimalist. Always stimulating. And as I've gotten older, knowing the benefits of having a more calmer environment, calming
Okay.
environment. In my house, I've learned to respect, you know, everybody's individual spaces, especially their rooms. Like, you know, it attests to their personality and who they are. You know, let's at least have one day a week where we clean, we
Yes.
declutter, and all that stuff, especially with the kids' rooms. But the common areas are shared spaces. And what I remember, a friend came over to my house for the first time not too long ago, and you know, she's looking around and she's like, "Do y'all use every room in the house, or you know, what about the outside?" deck, and I said
Yes.
every single room in the house, the basement, the living room, front room.
Testify. Yes.
We just kind of have to make sure that we keep those areas picked up,
Yes.
because when I see a lot of things, sitting around, clutter, dust, and things like that, it does kind of cause a little bit of anxiety and worry and stuff like that. Like, oh my gosh, it's a mess. And I'm not a neat freak. If you talk to the kids, they'll say, "Oh yeah, she's got, what do they say? Over
OCD,
cleaning
overclean
disorder,
this.
OCD, over cleaning disorder." And I'm like, no, I am not as bad as some people. I just want you to pick up the common areas. That's it. But I do really, really appreciate that. We all have areas to hang out in the house that we like, and the house is well lit.
Yes.
When I was younger, that kind of stuff didn't really matter to me. But now, honestly, when I go out to eat, when I'm at home, I like to keep the blinds open. I like to sit by a window. If it's warm enough outside, I like to sit outside. You know
It's
that.
a beautiful patio too. So it's very
Yeah.
cozy. Yeah.
So, but things that used to, that I didn't really care about in the past, I've learned how happy those things make me, how fulfilled and how motivated, to do anything,
Yeah.
cook or go to sleep. That matters. The temperatures and all those things kind of matter, because I've paid attention and done a little research and things like that over time. What body temperature do I need to go to sleep to?
Cold.
Cold. Okay, 68 to 70 degrees. What are some nice colors that I like, in my bedroom? Mostly the grays and the neutral colors. My office is pink because it's my favorite color, and that's my space, right? So, definitely just kind of learning. Again, I'm open to learning, continuing to learn more about myself, as the years go on, and kind of watching how those preferences, evolve.
Yes, and that's one thing I like about your home. When I go to a home, I want to see that home lived in,
Sure.
and so
Yeah.
I don't judge if it's a little messy and things like that,
Yeah.
because I'm like, especially when you have kids, like
Sure.
it's a couple of people's houses that I go to, like your house is another friend's house that I go to, and they let kids be kids and not destroying anything, but like it's lived in, like, and they have nice things. Your house is nice, you have nice things. Her house is nice, she has nice things. My house is nice, I have nice things, but kids get to be colorful and
Yeah.
live and just do different things,
I love
and
that.
so I love that. I've never wanted a formal dining area or like a formal area because I wanted it to be lived in. And even if I did
Yes.
have that, we would eat there because I feel like spaces are meant to be lived in. And so that's what I would say that, I learned from my childhood. I was like, yeah, I don't want this room that, is either a dump room or it's either a room that nobody can go in, and I didn't want that for myself. So I made my formal dining room a lounge
And
because of that reason.
something, when you talk about transforming that front space and, just kind of doing different things to your home, I know you like to do little projects all the
I
time.
love it.
You're
Yes.
always doing a good project. And, some people will say that it costs. They talk about budgeting and things like that. I've seen some people do some amazing things to their spaces with a small budget.
Very small
You
budget.
don't need a whole lot of money to, for one, declutter.
Yes.
And just take things out. People are always talking about that. It doesn't matter what industry I'm in. I'm talking to counseling clients. They're like, oh, I need to declutter. I need to reorganize, but I need a budget because I need to pay somebody to do this and that. And I'm like, no, you don't. You can start by doing one thing, and that's getting rid of all of the junk.
Yes.
And things like and clutter that you
That no longer
have
serving you
in your
well.
environments,
Yes.
because it does cause anxiety and it causes chaos in your brain, and you wonder why it's so hard for you to focus. Or hard for you to rest or feel
Or be
happy
productive.
in your environment.
Yes.
Yeah. Or your car is dirty, right? Or just different environments that you're in are just not clean, or how you need it to be so that you can function effectively.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And
So what are some what are some different habits? So if you don't mind, I want to answer this question first, because I don't want to forget the point. But what are some habits that you think are important to kind of maintain the environments that we really, really like and support our mental health? So I'll say this, and I know you're going to remember. One of our good friends, who is also a therapist and professional organizer, we were doing an event a couple of years back, and we asked, well, give us a tip for keeping our spaces organized. And one thing she said was, put it back. She said, put it back.
Simple.
And now I remember that and I use it in my own spaces and I tell the kids, I tell the husband, and I'm just like, if you pick something up, if you take something out the drawer, if you remove something, you put your jacket down when you come in the house because you have to rush off and do something, pick it up and go put it away. All right. And so that's one of the habits that have really stuck with me, to at least try to keep the common areas clean, because those are like the high traffic
Yes.
areas and things like that. Just put it back. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. What about you?
Well,
What are some
mine
habits
might
that
sound a
you
little
have?
bougie or whatnot,
That's
but hey,
okay.
I'm going to say it
It's
anyway.
not bougie. No judgment here.
But one of the things that I learned about for me is that I can't do it all, in the sense of like managing certain aspects of the home and things like that, and also accomplish the goals that I want to. I
Sure.
could, but I don't want to.
Yep.
And so I do hire somebody to come clean areas that I don't really care about cleaning, like bathrooms and kitchen and things like that.
Sure.
So that's been a habit that I've created for myself. And
That's
it's so funny
great.
because my husband was like, "Is she coming? Is the lady coming?" Because it has transformed, our space in a great deal. Because I can clean, but those fumes and stuff like that really get to me.
Sure.
And so I can't clean the way I want to because those chemicals really make me sick. And so having somebody come clean the bathrooms and clean the kitchen and just kind of sweep and mop, and they enjoy doing it too. And I have a relationship with her. I'm giving her some therapy advice for some of the stuff she has going on and things like that.
I love that.
And so it's just that, and that's another thing too, finding somebody that, can honor your home and respect your home. Because
Yes.
I don't let anybody in my home to come clean. I've had people come clean before and I didn't like their energy. They weren't invited back. And so this lady, she comes in and cleans the bathroom and specific areas in my home that I need her to clean. And I can clean the common areas and things like that. But those bathrooms, because of the chemicals, and so that's a habit that I created and I formed that's been amazing. Because I'm like, I can't do it the way that I want to do it, so I'm gonna get it done. And I get it done every 2 weeks. And even when she comes every 2 weeks, I'm like, it's still clean. Because I tell you, that lady cleans.
That's so nice. I love that.
She cleans. I'm like, okay. She doesn't really need to come again today, but I'm gonna have her come, every 2 weeks, because that consistency makes that space really,
Sure.
really nice. And she hadn't come for like a couple of holidays and stuff like during the holidays, and you could just tell the difference. It's clean. My restrooms are clean, but there's clean and they're clean.
Yeah.
Like that OC, what you call it?
Yeah.
What your kids say? OCD.
Overcleaning
Yeah, she has an
disorder,
overclean.
yeah.
She definitely has an overclean disorder because she's extremely like pays attention to every nook and cranny of your space, and I really appreciate that. And she
Yeah.
honors my home in that way. So that's what I would say. It's been a major support for me for my mental health, because now I don't have to worry about it. I
Sure.
can take that off my brain.
That's it.
And it's worth it. It's worth the money to
The
me.
outsourcing, that's something, one of the big recommendations that I make, in therapy. If someone's got the budget, and, you've been wanting to reorganize or rearrange some spaces in your house or even in your office. Maybe your office has become a dump. I know that happened to me in an environment that I was in, work environment that I was in. My office became a dump and I had to get all the stuff out of there and reorganize. Okay. And so sometimes you do need to outsource, hire a
Yes.
professional organizer, or a decorator like I did for my office,
Yes.
because I don't have the decorative insights that some people have. So I hired her to help me, and we exchanged ideas, and she listened to me, and we worked on it together and got it done, and
Yes.
it was I haven't looked
beautiful,
back.
yeah.
Was
It's
so
a beautiful
happy at the
environment, yes.
results.
It's
you know?
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And even in the past where I've hired cleaners and things like that because life got busy and things like that, and I treated myself to getting the house clean, that was amazing.
Yes.
Right. And so there are a lot of books and materials and articles that kind of talk about how the clutter creates chaos. It does creates a lot of chaos in our brains. There are certain colors, like, some people may like dark colors and that makes them happy. Some people like light colors. Some people like certain textures, music, candles, things like that. The moral of the story, that I think is really important here, is that we really should be evaluating our environments.
Yes.
There's some people that will will tell me that they're feeling depressed, in their house, and the first thing I'll say is, kind of tell me, show me around, or kind of tell me what's going on in your space. And I'm not the professional, I can't tell you what colors make you happy, but I can tell you that maybe if you're sitting in a dark room, you might need to cut on some
Yes,
lights. You may
yes.
need to roll up some windows, air out the place. But just evaluating, just being in a space, being in a constant of evaluating where we are mentally and being able to make adjustments that help us feel more calm and motivated and joyful in the spaces that we're in.
Yes, and that's true because I think people don't really understand or might minimize the importance of your physical health, your mental health, your environmental wellness,
The
and how
connection.
that the connection with it. They
Yes.
don't get it,
Yeah.
and so if you're for me, like my environment cannot be. You know me. I'm the take this to the Goodwill or to the Salvation Army or take it to this place just to donate. Take it to donate somewhere or give it to somebody. Give it out person. And declutter person and during seasons decluttering spring cleaning and getting those things out because
Yes.
I know how much it impacts my mental health.
Sure.
Like from going from having to dust and now having to clean up after kids and things like that, I know how much my mental health is impacted. And so I really wanted us to talk about this topic because people don't pay attention to their environment and how it
Sure.
impacts them. Like you talked about the car. I make sure I go wash my car, vacuum my car because I have kids
Yeah.
and they don't believe in clean cars. I'm not junky in my car, but at the same time, I do have things in there, but kids would just mess up your car. They don't have any, so I made a rule for no eating in my car, but sometimes you can't do that. And so
Sure.
now it's so funny because I, train my kids to like now when they'll be like, Mommy, here's the trash. I make sure they put the trash in a little bag that
That's
I have.
right.
I have little grocery bags that I keep in the car, and they put the trash in there when they're done eating, and I immediately go throw it in the trash in the dumpster when I'm done. And so it's really important to be mindful of that and how your environment impacts you. So I hope that that's a takeaway that people can get from this session today.
Absolutely. I want to share today's takeaway. Small, intentional changes in your environment can have a big impact on your emotional well being. By noticing what supports your focus, your calm, and energy, and just making simple adjustments, you can create spaces that nurture your mind and reduce stress. Calm, intentional environments aren't about perfection, they're about supporting your well being in your everyday life.
So if you're listening today, I want to challenge you to add one common element to your space this week, whether it's a plant, candle, or cozy item, and see how it shifts your energy. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support. Please like, subscribe, and follow.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, wellness is not a destination, but a process, and every step you take matters. Until next time, stay grounded, stay connected, and keep prioritizing your well being.